Dear students, I welcome you once again to my session on a treatise on good manners and good breeding written by Jonathan Swift. But here, this session is entirely different from the earlier sessions. In my previous sessions, I gave an account of a brief analysis, of course. It's not a brief, of course, it's a detailed analysis of a treatise on good manners and good breeding and explained the difference between good manners and good breeding and the inferences made by the author Swift and how he tries to draw the meaning of good manners and good breeding through various examples. So this is what I covered in my previous three sessions. So I hope we have understood this beautiful essay written by Jonathan Swift because this essay is relevant in day-to-day life. It is apt for the students, especially at UG level. For all, of course, good manners are not to be acquired by students alone. Good manners play a pivotal role in one's life. We are all basically human beings and we are expected to become the successful citizens of the country, contribute something for the country. As part of our responsibility, we have to develop some good manners and to contribute ourselves for the welfare of the society. And here, after having learned the nuances of the text, the inference of the text, here I have taken up the comprehension part of the text part. But before I begin this comprehension, I would like to explain as to what reading comprehension means. Reading comprehension right from 6th class onwards till competitive examinations, even at in UPSC level civil services examination also, you have comprehension passages. You have a reading comprehension passage in every semester and examinations and in every competitive examination. When a lot of focus is being laid on comprehension passages in every examination, you are expected to know what the purpose, intention of reading comprehension is, why they are being prescribed. Language is a means of communication. Reading is one of the most important skills. Among 4 skills, reading is a very important skill. Reading and writing. So, the very intention, the basic intention of a reading passage is to process a text and to understand its meaning, what the author wants to convey. And sometimes we won't be able to understand what the author means. And sometimes we will be able to understand what the author means. What does it mean? It all depends on the kind of language, kind of expressions, the kind of references, inferences that are there in a comprehension passage. And that's how when we read a passage, we have to process the text part and try to understand its meaning. This is the main intention of a reading comprehension passage. And before going through a passage, perhaps we already have some ideas. We already have some language skills. Based on the language skills which we already have, we try to integrate our knowledge, our skills with what is there in the given passage. This is another important point to be borne in mind. And we are influenced by the skills, our skills and our ability to process the information. To what extent, to what degree we are able to process the information that is there in the passage. These are the important points to be borne in mind while learning about reading comprehension, because before going through a comprehension passage, you are expected to have an idea as to what reading comprehension is. That's the reason why I have mentioned some facts here. And what are the skills required for reading comprehension? It's not a blind process. You cannot read a passage very blindly and try to answer the questions that are there. Most of the students have got a misconcept that A reading comprehension is just aimed at testing our own reading skills, whether we are able to understand and answer the questions. Just answering the questions is not the sole duty and responsibility of the students. It has got its own inherent intention behind it. You are expected to have some skills to understand a given passage. And the first skill that is required is to know the meaning of the words. Words, are said to be vocabulary. Vocabulary plays a very prominent role in learning English language or speaking English language. And vocabulary is the nucleus of a language. Unless you have good vocabulary, you cannot understand anything when it is being either spoken by others or when you are going through a written text. And that's how the skills required for understanding a written passage, reading comprehension passage, is to know the meanings of the words. Some words can be understood based on the context. Some words cannot be understood on the basis of the context. Then it requires some effort. You have to refer dictionary and draw some inferences and relate the meaning that is found in the dictionary to the meaning, to the word that is there in the context. And another skill that is required is the ability to understand the meaning of from the discourse context. A word may have more than one meaning. Synonyms, we talk about synonyms. Synonym is a word which has got some nearness in meaning. It's not the exact meaning. And some words also have more than one meaning. That is another important point. In that particular context, what the word means is to be understood here. And ability to follow the organization of the passage. Every passage has got its own organization. Order, maintenance of order is to be observed when we are going through a written passage. Because when a writer wants to present a concept in a written passage, a reading comprehension passage, he has got his own ideas. Those ideas are being presented in an orderly manner. Coherence is being maintained between one idea and the other idea, from one idea to the other idea, from one sentence to the other sentence. And after having gone through the whole passage, the whole meaning, what the author wants to convey through the whole passage is to be understood. And that's how we can understand the antecedents and the references to make us understand, to emphasize his point. The author tries to give a number of references. Symbolism in some references, symbolism and antecedents. Based on the antecedents and references, we should try to understand the organization of the passage in a reading comprehension process. And this skill is also required for understanding a passage. And it is also aimed at testing the inferences from a passage. We are supposed to have ability to understand the inferences from the passage and what the main thought of the passage is, main idea conveyed in the passage is. Because the overall idea, getting the overall idea of the passage is one aspect, and the specific inferences are to be understood. That is another aspect. This is a very important skill that is required when you are going through a reading comprehension passage. And another aspect, the most awaited one by the students, is answering the questions. And most of the students have got a misconception that a passage is meant to be understood, read and understood, and answer the questions. That's not the main purpose. And they also try to infer a word in the question to the word in the passage and try to reproduce that. Picking up a sentence which is related to the question and trying to reproduce it is not the primary motto of answering the questions. Basically, you have to understand the passage, you have to understand the question and answer the question in your own language based on the passage points that are mentioned in the passage. You are not expected to copy the sentence from the passage. That is to be avoided, which most of you do it. And these are the skills required and the primary purpose of reading comprehension, because we cannot blindly go through an element that we are covering in a session, an aspect that we are covering in a session. Everything has got its own background, everything has got its own significance, importance. This is to be borne in mind whenever we are learning anything. Reading comprehension has got its own constructive purpose. It's not, it cannot be taken up in a haphazard and blind manner. There is a process for it. There is a purpose behind it, and that purpose is to be served when we are following a reading comprehension. So after having gone through all these ideas behind a reading comprehension, the purpose, intention, and how it is being given in examinations, whether it is in semester end examinations or in competitive examinations. In every competitive examination, we have a comprehension passage. It is aimed at testing the reading skills of the students, because unless you have the habit of reading, you cannot answer the questions very accurately. If you are aware of reading, if you are acquainted with reading or used to reading a passage, you can easily go through a written passage that is there in an examination, whether it is semester end examination or in competitive examinations. In some examinations, semester end examinations, you have seen passages and unseen passages. A seen passage is taken from the prescribed text, and unseen passage is taken from some other unknown source. Whether it is given from unknown source or given text, prescribed text, you should be able to answer it very properly. That is what is to be remembered and borne in mind before we attempt a comprehension passage. So after having learnt all these points and bearing in mind all these points, let's have a look at the seen text. Hope you have understood the text part of a treatise on good manners and good breeding. I have taken a very small passage here, the very first passage, and have a look at that, read that passage carefully and answer the questions. Now I will read it. Good manners is the art of making those people easy with whom we converse. Whoever makes the fewest persons uneasy is the best bred in the company. As the best law is founded upon reason, so are the best manners. And as some lawyers have introduced unreasonable things into common law, so likewise many teachers introduced absurd things into common good manners. In the very first passage, Jonathan Swift explains the meaning of good manners. It is the art of making the people easy. Other people should feel at ease when we are conversing with them. This is the main art. It's a kind of art. It's not so easy. When we converse with some people, we feel uncomfortable. But when we converse with some people, we get some impression. It all depends on how we talk, how we receive, how we respond. It's a very important thing. It's a great art. This is what good manners determine. Good manners are determined by the way people feel at ease when we are conversing with them. And whoever makes the fewest persons uneasy is the best bred in the company. I have already explained the nuances of the text in my earlier sessions, of course. But again, since we have taken a passage, you are expected to read it and answer the questions, of course, but I am trying to explain once again for your own convenience. Whoever may be the person, whoever makes the fewest persons uneasy, fewest has got a negative meaning. No. And a person who does not make any person uneasy, he is said to be the best brought up person in a company. This is what author means. Fewest persons in the sense no person should feel uneasy. When you are not making any person uneasy, you are said to be the best bred company, best brought up person in the company. This is the very exact meaning of good manners, the purpose of good manners. As the best law is founded upon a reason. Law is founded upon reason. Various principles, laws are made by the makers of law. They have their own reasons, strong reasons. So are the best manners. Best manners, as law has got its own basic reason, best manners also have their own reason. And as some lawyers have introduced some unreasonable things, when we talk about law, we find both justice, injustice, reasonable, unreasonable. We also criminals being arrested and they are being released on bail. It happens because of some lawyers have introduced some unreasonable things into the common law. As some lawyers have brought some unreasonable things into common law. Similarly, some teachers have also introduced basic, absurd, foolish things into the common good manners. He makes a comparison between the lawyers who have introduced unreasonable things and the teachers who have introduced absurd things into the common good manners. This is what the simple small passage means here. Now you can answer the questions very easily. What does good manners mean according to the author? You bear in mind that whatever answer you give, however you answer in your own language, keep important point that you are not supposed to write your own ideas. You are expected to write in your own language, but not expected to write your own ideas there. What, according to the author, good manners mean? Good manners may have different kinds of meanings, of course. You may have your own idea or concept about good manners, of course. But what author means, this is what you have to understand while answering the question. Who is said to be the best brought up person? I have just explained. A person who does not make any person uneasy when he converses with others. He is said to be the best brought up person. This is how you have to answer. What did some lawyers do? They have introduced some unreasonable things. Pick out the word from the passage which means meaningless. While going through a passage, another important point, I have just explained that vocabulary plays a very important role in most of the comprehension passages, whether it is in semester end examination or in competitive examinations. You will also be tested on vocabulary or the forms of the words. This is what we have to bear in mind. And they may be asked in various ways. Way of asking may be different. And some occasions you may be asked a question like this. Pick out the word from the passage which means meaningless. You are expected to draw, pick out, take the word which means meaningless. This is one way of asking. We can also ask in another way. What does the word absurd mean? Meaningless means absurd. Absurd means meaningless. You can ask like that. Who are compared in the passage? There is a comparison in the passage between teachers, some teachers, not all teachers of course, and some lawyers. How? They have introduced unreasonable things into law in good manners. This is one passage I have taken for your understanding. Look at another passage. Pride, ill nature, and want of sense are the three great sources of ill manners. Author has mentioned that there are three basic sources, three basic causes, of course, roots. Where have they originated from? How do ill manners originate? The basic reason for the origin of ill manners is one's pride, ill nature, and lack of sense, lack of meaning. When one has some ill manners, when one observes ill manners when he is conversing with others, we have to understand that any one of these three, either pride or ill nature or lack of sense, will be the basic reason for his misbehavior. Without one of these defects, it's a defect, it's a flaw. Pride, ill nature, and senselessness, meaninglessness, unreasonable behavior. It's a flaw in one's behavior. No man will behave himself ill for want of experience. No person, when when ill manners, because of any one of these reasons, he has some ill manners. Otherwise, he won't be misbehaving with others. Or of what? In the language of fools is called knowing the world. In the language of fools, it is said to be the knowing the world. If you understand this, it implies that you know the world. If you don't understand these things, you don't know the world. We can simply give this apt explanation. I defy anyone to assign an incident where reason will not direct us what we are to say or do in a company. He's confronting, challenging, of course, in a way. He's defying anyone. You take any incident in one's life without reason being the prime cause, will not direct what we are to say in a company. There will be a reason for everything. If we are not misled by pride or ill nature. Without pride, ill nature, lack of sense, he is challenging. We don't come across a single incident where one is unreasonable. This is what the small passage means here. And now look at the questions. What are the three main causes of ill manners? Pride, lack of sense, want of sense or lack of sense, ill nature. Is there any incident where reason does not direct us what we are to say? Among questions, dear students, understand we have two types of questions or three types of questions. In some occasions, we have information questions. You also have yes or no type of questions. There will be positive answer, positive response, and negative response. Yes or no type of questions. And the second question is of yes or no type. Is there any incident where reason does not direct us what we are to say? No. Is a simple answer. What is adjective form of the word pride? Now I have explained in my earlier passage, while going through the earlier passage, that your vocabulary is tested. Vocabulary does not imply knowing the meanings of the words alone. Another important aspect we have to bear in mind is, I hope I remember, I have shared some ideas about the forms of words, noun form, adjective form, adverb form, verb form. And you will also be tested which part of speech a particular word that is there in the passage is. You should also remember that. And it implies that reading comprehension is aimed at testing your skills of language, whatever they may be. Our grammatical parts will also be covered in the passage. What is the adjective form of the word pride? Pride is a noun form. Proud is an adjective form. Proudly is an adverb form. It doesn't have a verb form. What does the phrase want of sense mean? We come across idioms, phrases, words, inferences, symbolic words also. We come across when we are going through passages. References. Author also makes reference to various kinds of mythologies in passages sometimes. And based on the context, if you have the pre-built idea, because integrating the ideas, integrating the knowledge is also required. We integrate our knowledge. If we have our own knowledge about the references, then we can easily understand it. If we don't have any kind of knowledge about the mythologies, for example, we cannot understand it. thus you are expected to have the habit of reading. Habit of reading will improve all these kinds of skills. And want of sense. Want of sense is a phrase. It means lack of sense, lack of meaning. What does the author confront? In the last line, he confronts, that he challenges that we don't find a single incident without where reason does not occupy its own role. These are the questions. And another mode of asking, you also have in semester and examinations, you find passages of this kind. This exercise carries 5 marks. You will be given not a seen passage, of course, but to make it, to emphasize on the importance of the text, I have given a seen passage, but you will be given some unseen passage in your examinations. And for your own convenience, to make it student friendly, the words are given at the bottom of the text. Some blanks are there based on the meaning of the words, overall meaning of the passage. You have to fill in the blanks with the words that are shown below the passage. First, a necessary part of good manners is a punctual observance of time at our own dwellings or those of others, or at third places, whether upon matter of civility, business, or diversion, which rule, though it be a reason, a plain dictate of common reason, yet the greatest minister I ever knew was the greatest trespasser against it. These are the words shown there, and we have to fill in them like that. This is another mode of asking, because students are expected to have various ideas as to how the questions are given. At a stage, you will be able to frame your own exercises when you become a teacher. Now, look at another mode of asking. Note down the underlined words in the following passage and answer the questions. Ignorance. Ignorance of forms cannot properly be styled ill manners. I explained the nuances of the text. Ignorance of forms cannot properly be styled ill manners. Just for the basic reason that you are ignorant, you cannot defend yourself for ill manners, for possession of ill manners. You are expected to know you are part of society, because forms are subject to frequent changes. Ignorance is underlined here, frequent is underlined, reason, wise, ill. Note down the underlined words in the following passage and answer the questions. This has got its own purpose. I have framed it in such manner to make you understand. Now, if you have a look at the questions, you will understand the purpose. Answer the following questions. Write the adjective form of the word ignorance. The reason for opting this kind of exercise is, you also have in semester and examinations a question which carries 5 marks in both first semester and second semester. You are asked to write the adjective forms of the underlined words or noun forms of the underlined words. In one exam, you are asked nouns, and in another examination, you are asked adjectives. So to make you learn the significance of the forms of the words, I have chosen this type of passage. Write the adjective form of the word ignorance. Ignorance is a noun form. Ignorant is an adjective form. Ignorantly is adverb form. What is the noun form of the word ill? You come across it frequently. Illness. Ill is an adjective. Illness is a noun form. What is the noun form of the word frequent? Frequent is an adjective form. Frequent changes. Frequent rain. We talk about it. Frequency. Frequently is an adverb, frequent is an adjective, frequency is noun form. Write the adjective form of the word reason. Reason, some words can be used both as verbs and nouns. Reason is both a noun and a verb. It can be used both as a noun and verb. Usage is different. Meaning is same, of course, but usage is different. You cannot reason with him. It's a verb. There is a reason for my argument. That's a noun. Reasonable is an adjective. Reasonably. Reasonable prices. We talk about it. Reasonable prices. Unreasonable. Reasonable, unreasonable. It's an adjective form. Reasonably is an adverb. What is the noun form of the word wise? Wise. Wise is an adjective. Wisely is an adverb. Hope you know the noun form. Wisdom. Wise, wisdom. Wisdom is different from knowledge, of course. I will explain these things in another session because the time constraints don't permit me to go in detail there. Now, answer the following questions. So these are, I have explained a few types, a few kinds of questions framed on comprehension passages. So basically, you have to understand what comprehension means, what is the intention of comprehension, and how you are being tested in a comprehension passage, and how to enrich your skills reading comprehension passages. And you can enrich your reading skills only by reading. Reading alone, practice alone, reading as many number of books as possible. And try to make the best use of every source to enrich your reading skills. Because your reading skills alone, your ability to understand any passage in general, this alone will help you to conquer any examination, become successful in any examination in a very hassle-free manner. And as part of the text, it was not possible for me to cover the questions, and in your semester end examinations you are expected to answer the questions in about 125 words, an essay question, and they are given at the end of the text, of course. And for a reference, I have shown you some questions here. Answer the following questions. What, according to Swift, is the foundation of good manners? You have to give a detailed explanation, detailed analysis of the foundation of good manners in this answer. What is the difference between good manners and good breeding? The author has explained through various examples what good manners mean, what good breeding mean, and what is the difference between good manners and good breeding. What are the elements, aspects involved in good manners and good breeding? And you are expected to cover all these points in this question. What does Swift explain about ceremonial behavior? While going through the text, I have explained how ladies try to preside in ceremonies, how importance is being attached to, what kind of importance is being attached to men and ladies, how they try to dominate. It's all being explained while going through the text part of the essay, a treatise on good manners and good breeding. And you read the text again and go through these questions, read it more than once, and try to note down while going through a written passage, written text, prose text. You come across various words, unknown words, and you are expected to make a note of all these words. If you make it a habit to note down each and every word and try to understand the meanings of the words, after reaching a stage, you don't come across any unknown word at all. The number of words which you don't understand will be minimized. This is what this effort you are expected to make, and that is the intention of reading comprehension. and I have covered the reading comprehension, the basic purpose for covering the reading comprehension passages from your own text is the Jonathan Swift's treatise on good manners and good breeding is a bit complex, of course. It's a bit difficult, of course. It requires a lot of effort to understand the nuances of the text. That's how I have taken the same passages from the text. And if you cultivate the habit of reading English newspapers, you can enrich your reading skills and become perfect, become successful in your forthcoming examinations. So I will conclude with these few important points in this session, and let's meet again in other sessions with some other topic. Thank you.